I just it's too, you can't make it up. Like, so she's making this crest to put on his breastplate, and then he, I guess from the pounding of the hammer, or I guess it's some kind of mechanical device that's doing like beating the metal. And you get a flashback to the Jedi Temple and how he escapes. You have 4 Jedi get mowed down by like 5 or 6 clone troopers, which, I mean, I know we like to criticize, like, why aren't the stormtroopers or clone troopers actually threats? But I mean, 4 Jedi getting mowed down by 7 clone troopers. Come on, I don't know. At least in Revenge of the Sith, when the Jedi Masters are getting mowed down, they're getting mowed down by their like entire like squads, like, or divisions. It's in some cases like they're and it's a surprise attack. These guys are already on defense. They've got their lightsabers out, and we lost Script Doctor. But anyways, they've got their lightsabers out like this. Like, see, they're already prepared. They're on the defense.
They're cutting through.
And
sorry, Streamers just booted me out.
Well, we'll have to give them a downvote on that at the end. But yeah, see, like, even here, this is like one of the pro images they gave us. They're clearly ready to defend, and I think 7 or 8 clone troopers come through and mow down all but one of these Jedi here.
Yep.
So
pretty effortlessly, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated with that, and I know, like, oh, you're being nitpicking here, but I think there's a balance. There's a balance. Like, you need to have overwhelming force to take out 4 Jedi. We know how powerful Jedi are, even if they are like weaker Jedi. We still know that they can handle themselves pretty well, especially against droids or even against clone troopers. I mean, we've seen that. We saw that with Obi-Wan when he's fighting against Commander Cody. I mean, I guess Commander Cody shoots him and everything, but he does realize he's getting attacked and everything. He's able to survive. But we have seen them, like, even Ki-Adi-Mundi does defend himself for a little bit. Against, I mean, I don't know, I would say probably at least 24 or more clone troopers when he's attacked. And then Yoda is able to like defend himself from the clone troopers on Kashyyyk. So I was a little bit disappointed here, and maybe that's a budget or whatever, but then cut down the Jedi, like have like 2 instead of 4, and give more clone troopers.
Exactly, because the whole point is that the Jedi can defend themselves from a number of blaster shots, but there's so many, they can only put their lightsaber at one position at any time, so you have to shoot in different directions or at different points of the body at the same time in order to defeat the Jedi, at least in this scenario that we have. Like, that's what happened to Ki-Adi-Mundi, that's what happened to the Twi'lek Jedi.
Yeah. I can't remember her name either.
They were doing their good job, but it was just too much for them to be able to do.
They're overwhelmed.
Defend against, and then here it was just like, nope. We have 4 disposable Jedi being gunned down by a bunch of disposable clone troopers, which they're going to be defeated by the new character.
Yeah. So then he gets to the elevator. We get to there he is. Jar Jar Binks is back. Ahmed Best. This is a character that they introduced on some kind of like Jedi Temple game show. I think he was like the host training younglings or whatever.
I remember that, yeah.
And I think this was his character. He was the Jedi Master. So they introduced him again, and there's a little bit of fun scene here with him. He's defending Grogu as they escape, and he's still in his little like pod thing, flying around, which we know is like immune to lightsabers, but he keeps it open quite a bit until like there's like one part I think where he closes it. But it was pretty. I was kind of a little bit. It was like, okay, yeah, like you got to run. Let's go. What's going to happen here? How are you going to get off the planet? Is this how Grogu falls into the hands of the Empire? You don't really know what's going to happen, because you do know he falls into the hands of the Empire. Obviously, right. He was with them. They had the samples. We have that that clip from the 2nd season where the Doctor says that they had the blood samples from him, and maybe they got that from the Jedi Temple, but one would assume that they had him in his possession, because I think he basically says he had him. They just didn't get enough. And then they and obviously Din gave him to him too for a little bit. But So maybe the Empire didn't have him before then. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
we
have to
yeah
go
we
back and look at that.
we're missing details, but it looks like we have another parallel story, because one thing I did notice is at the beginning of this episode, where they do recently on the previous episode, they don't do anything on Coruscant from the other story at all. It was completely ignored. It went straight into this stuff.
Well, they did. You did get like a wink and a nod. It's like, oh, do you remember that mountain that we just showed you? Because he flies past it.
Yeah, in this part of the scene, because he's got a speeder chase.
Yeah. I hated that too. Yeah. It's like they're trying to get him to this Jedi. Like he has a plan, but his plan completely revolves around the speeder bike that he took from the clone troopers that he killed. Like that wasn't his speeder bike. That was the clone trooper speeder bike. They were trying to intercept him, and then he like jumps on it. It's like, well, like they seemingly had a plan.
Get to the location in the first place. It would have been more interesting if he was on his way to that. It was destroyed, and then he managed to find a way to grab the speeder bike and. So that was a little bit. I didn't really like that. I was like, come on, you gotta they clearly have a plan, because they're like, we need to get him to this Jedi. We have to get him to this Jedi. Mm-hmm. There's something that's going on here, that they knew that like if something happens, we get him to this guy. Like at least that's the implication. So you get like a little bit of a chase scene, which I thought that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah. But then it ends terribly. You've got clone troopers in their transport ships, which we know have weapons because they shot his engine down, and we've seen them in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. We know that those transport dropships have weapons, and they see him pulling over and going to this Naboo Corvette, and they don't blow up the Corvette. Decide to they don't even do they even shoot at the platform? I'm not even sure if they shoot at the platform. I don't think they do, because they decide to just deploy the troopers, and then there's kind of a little bit of a firefight, and the Naboo I guess airmen or security officers or whatever they are just get annihilated, disposable as you used, and then he gets on the ship and kind of just jets off. I did like that it looked like he actually got out of the atmosphere before jumping to hyperspace. Yeah, you could see the actual transition from like the sky to night to the stars. Grogu's widening his eyes in amazement, and then they hyperspace away. But the ships go after him. Like there isn't a bigger destroyer ship or a bigger Imperial ship, or at this point a Republic ship that's been corrupted and co-opted to pursue fleeing vessels. Like it was just kind of.
Well, it's because that technology hasn't been created yet, Script Doctor. Remember, the First Order are the ones who figure out that technology where they can track ships through hyperspace.
Yeah, you're right.
And the reason why he has to get into space is because they haven't done the hyperspace skipping yet. That's in the Rise of Skywalker. And then so there's just a little. Those were like tiny issues and everything, but that was probably the most entertaining part, was just kind of the escape from the Jedi Temple, because I hated the whole bird thing. I thought it was just infuriating, because it really was. Watching that was so infuriating, because it was so stupid. It was insulting to my intelligence to have them sit there and wait underneath like a tent and give us like, oh, go eat your meal, and we're all going to go off as this bird has taken this kid hostage. And on top of that, they're saying that this bird has been doing it to a bunch of them, but somehow they still got 300 people.
I don't get it. It's like they're being plagued by this creature, and it knows that I guess this area of the covert is good hunting ground. Why aren't they moving? They're not to move.
Why aren't there any scouts or someone looking for it? Like at least in the original Star Wars, when you get to Yavin 4, there's literally a guy up on the tower looking up into the sky to see what's going on. Like they've got freaking scouts and stuff, like lookouts to see if there's bad guys coming or if there's something happening.
To give warning.
These people have nothing. They're just exposed on a beach where they've apparently been getting attacked by this bird routinely. I don't know, man. It's just so like you got it. Like the dialogue is awful too because of that. I mean, it's
they repeat the we can't use blasters like 3 or 4 times throughout the entire episode, and then jetpacks, and they're like, we have to go. We'll have to go at first light. Okay, we'll camp out here, and then we'll go in the morning. Okay, it's morning now. We're gonna go up the mountain, and I used to climb a mountain like this as when I was in training as a kid. It's
no
really
reason why they needed to go at morning. There wasn't really an explanation for that. Nope. They were just like, oh, it's because they wanted to show her taking off her helmet and learning about the way. Like that's the only like reason. And it's just like, why don't you just like? I actually thought we were instead of like the flashback thing. I thought that was like, okay, the armor's going to tell the Grogu like literally what the way is, and I thought that's maybe what we were going to get. Instead of the flashback, and so actually like explain it. I don't think they're going to explain it because they have no clue what it is, and they just wing it as they go.